Hey, what's going on, guys? Zach here. Wanted to spend a few minutes with you today and talk about something that has helped me a ton and is continuing to help me a ton. I have to refer back to this pretty much all the time so that I don't screw myself up. And this is having qualifications for relationships, both in business and personal. And full disclosure here, I straight up stole this from a guy named Rob Thompson, who is in some ways he's more from a distance now, but a spiritual mentor and a relationship mentor, and very very wealthy guy, very successful guy, awesome dude, and runs a large business and also a large church out here by where we are. And so I learned this stuff from him and completely stole it, repackaged it, and I'm giving it to you. So if you want like the straight to the point stuff, go see him or go look at his website or something like that. His name is Rob Thompson. So anyway, this has been really helpful for me with choosing business partners, and I think more importantly, because especially in our business, we tend to bring in people from all different walks of life, and sometimes you can have people that get in your team without your consent necessarily, if they come in from depth, or maybe you were just feeling a little bit sluggish, and you let some people into your team that maybe you aren't totally sure about. This is going to help let you decide if you should spend time with them or not, and invest into them if it's not super clear and super obvious one way or the other. So this is really helpful for me. This has helped me and continues to help me protect my time and makes me happy to use my time in the right ways. And then of course it's helped me a lot with finding a wife. Yay! So I'm going to show this with you guys now, and let's swap over. So this is the qualifications for a relationship, and there are 6 of them. There's actually more than this, but these are the 6 major ones, and these are 6 that I stole from Rob that he uses to really decide if he's going to be in a relationship with somebody. And we're going to get into each one of these in a little bit of depth. So the first one is committed, second one is empires, third is generous, fourth is qualify, fifth is integrity first, and sixth is confrontation. So let's jump into these right now. So first one is committed to a long-lasting relationship. So people that are willing to forgive, people that are willing to learn, things like that. Like we all know that we all make mistakes. Like when I have someone new on my team, I know that they're going to screw up. In fact, they're probably going to screw up a lot more than potentially me, because we're doing something that I'm trained at and I've been doing this for a while. So most likely they're the ones that are going to be messing up for a bit, and I know that I'm willing to forgive them, right? But I also let them know that, hey, I'm not perfect at all by any stretch, and I'm going to screw some things up. I could screw up, prospects. I could screw up sales. Like I still mess things up, and you got to be able to forgive me. Like we have to be entering into this relationship with a long-term mentality. And of course, this is not a conversation that I have like when I'm getting them registered, or if I'm like becoming a brand new friend with someone. Like it's not like we go out for coffee and like this is the conversation. This is something that happens over series of weeks or months. But you have to have all these things for something to be healthy. So committed to a long-lasting relationship, people that are willing to forgive each other, they're willing to learn and move on and continue to grow. The second one is empires in their brains, or empires in their minds. So dreamers. So we've heard that small minds talk about other people, right? They gossip. Average minds talk about sports and current events. So what's on ESPN? What basically they talk about people that are living out their dreams because they're not living out theirs. And then big minds or large minds will talk about the future, or they'll talk about their dreams and where they're going and why they're going there. And so people that I'm in a relationship with both personally and in business, they have to be forward thinking. Even if we're not in business together, they have to be thinking, like they have to be taking ground in their world in some way. If they're stagnant, like they're either going to continue to encourage me and bring me up and help me reach my goals, whether or not they're in my business or not, or they're going to make me feel slow and sluggish and anti-momentum. Number 3 is generous. The people have to be generous. Selfish people are legitimately the hardest people to be in a relationship with, again, personally and business. I see this a lot in not a lot, but sometimes people coming into the business. Like obviously they're coming in to do better for themselves. So there's a certain amount of selfishness that's totally expected, and it's even healthy in some ways to just like you need to go through a period of time where you're just getting yours, right? And there's a balance, of course, between getting yours and helping others get theirs. But if someone's just like inherently selfish, that's just not okay. Like, they're really hard to be in a relationship with. And number two, it just bothers the crap out of me. So if I see guys, for instance, like if there's like guys and girls in a room and, we're having an event or something and, people are going to get food and like a dude, cuts all the women to go get his pizza because, he's hungry. It's like, obviously that's not a reason for me to like cut off being a friend with him, but it's a thing I kind of like put a little check mark in my brain. Like, okay, maybe he is this way. If someone is like, if someone's always taking care of the bill for you and you never ever, front it for them or whatever, as that compounds, it gets worse and worse because people start to remember those things, and selfish people are just really hard to be in a relationship with. Number 4 is they qualify to receive my seed. So me and Ashley's whole, goal in life is to sow into people. That's the reason why we build network marketing business. That's the reason why it's the reason why we do that. It's our life's work in most cases, in all cases, because we believe that we can not only grow a huge and massive business that produces, complete financial freedom for us and our whole family up and down, but it's also where we can sow into people and help them grow and help them spiritually grow as well. And if someone can't appreciate the time that we give them or the seed that we put in them, it's a useless, seed. It's one that falls among the thorns, right? It doesn't actually take root. And of course, those things happen. We can't stop all of those things, but to the best of my ability, I'm going to make sure I find fertile soil to put my seed. I'm going to try to go where I'm celebrated, not tolerated. This is something that I definitely did the first few years in my business. I would just go wherever I could, basically where I was tolerated. If you would listen to me, I would go there. And truthfully, you do sharpen your skills, but you kind of just end up with a lot of frustration and a lot of people that didn't ever really appreciate you to begin with, and it kind of sucks. So go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. Number 5 is integrity above relationship. So, maybe you've heard this before: principle above the person. So I don't follow people, I follow principles. So if, for instance, like if I've actually had a pretty prominent leader in my life, mentor, take the wrong road. Like he had a choice and he made a very, very immoral and stupid and ridiculous choice that ruined his entire life. And some people that were under his mentorship chose to follow him regardless, and some people didn't. And we were among the people that did not. And it just comes down to, you have to figure out what your true north is. Is it the Bible? Is it another spiritual guidance thing? Is it just some written, a secular, mission statement that you've written? Whatever it is, find your true north, and that is your true north. The person is not your true north. So if someone goes off the path, you know that you should follow the principle, not necessarily that person if they're driving off of a cliff. Same thing if it comes in terms of just straight up, business. Are you, super ingrained with are you obsessed with the process? Like, I must follow this process or I will die trying? Or are you obsessed with the goal? Are you obsessed with freedom and you'll change the process to get there? So integrity above relationship, principles above people. I saw this in a case in my church. A friend of mine, again, a friend of mine and a really, really prominent leader at a really, really massive church we were at, made a really bad decision, an immoral decision, and they removed him from that leadership spot because principle above relationship. He was a very, very liked leader, but you can't ask a congregation of 10,000 people to follow someone who maybe jacked up their principles. Okay, number 6, willing to confront my enemies. So this is something that, like, the bigger you get as a leader, I've seen this slightly, not a ton in my own life, but in a very, very small sense. But I've seen it more in mentors that I have, where the bigger you get, the more shots that you take, right? So the more following that you have, the more shots that you take. Like, even with the minuscule, tiny size teams that we have had on our team, and the tiny presence that we have online in comparison to others, like, I used to take shots quite a bit. just in the physical world, meaning the offline world, and then now just with a very tiny presence that we have, probably take 5 to 10 shots a day from just idiots that are trolling me or whatever. And then offline, it can be even more painful because these are people face to your face, or you hear it down the grapevine. And here's what I got to tell you: that you have to be willing to confront the enemies of your friends. And if you're not, you got to question how much of a friend that you are. If my friend's in trouble, I'm going to go to his aid, and then I'll ask questions later. So that type of thing. So my friends and people have to be willing to confront my enemies, and vice versa, right? So again, this is not stuff that you bring up like your first conversation by any means. Some of this is pretty deep. Some of this is stuff that you have to find out over time. But if you find one that's like, oh wow, this guy is, or this gal is totally not a very principle-based person, obviously you might not want to stay in a relationship with them. If they, are super selfish, same thing. If someone's supposed to have your back and they completely botch it because, they're being selfish and they don't have your back, do you really want to be friends with them? Do you really want them on your team? That kind of stuff, that kind of things. And of course, I've noticed many of these things with people on our team throughout the years, and not once have I ever kicked somebody off of our team, but I have pulled back my time with them because the most valuable asset that we have is our time, and I'm not going to sow seed into a crap ground, right? I'm going to go find fertile soil and sow it there. Depending on your belief system, my belief system is Christianity and the Bible, and the Bible does talk about you will get a return on your seed no matter what, and you will waste seed no matter what. But it is also your responsibility to find fertile soil and good ground to put that seed in. It's also your responsibility to go, use your talents wisely. And if you're not using them wisely, you are considered stupid or foolish. God definitely compounds our work and makes it better, but we have to be smart enough to use it in the right places. So anyway, guys, I hope this helped in some way. This has been really, really helpful for me. It continues to be helpful for me. I do refer back to it pretty often. And with that, hope you have a good day, and we'll talk to y'all soon.